Hello there. Today's video, entitled Parents. Parents told me that spending long amounts of time with any of their adult children is bad for their marriage. This is not an extremely egregious story, but I have to rant. Not looking for solutions. It is what it is. I, 26M, was recently told by my parents, late 50s, that I wouldn't be able to live with them for more than a night, even if I lost my job, because it's bad for their marriage. My sister, 29F, has a chronic illness that forces her to visit my parents for about 1 week at a time to see a specialist in our home city. My parents told me that even my sister spending a week with them is bad for their marriage and they have to put an end to it. This whole conversation started because there might be a lapse in my lease and I might not have a place to live for a few weeks in June. I own a travel trailer, so they said I could live in that at a campground before my new lease starts. I was shocked that even if push came to shove, I wouldn't be able to land at their place for a short while. 2 years ago when COVID hit, my girlfriend, 24F, and I were displaced. We crashed at a friend's place for 2 months because my parents, who literally own 2 houses, wouldn't allow us to stay at either. My mom told me then, "We would always let you stay with us, but we just can't house your partner as well. She's a taker." Okay, whatever, my mom was newly sober, so I didn't think much of it. Well, 2 years later, here we are, and I am in fact not allowed to stay with them. I quoted my mom back to her, she called me manipulative, my dad shouted at me, and they both told me a lot has changed in the last 2 years. We are doing a lot better, and living with you is bad for our marriage. We can't live with you at all anymore, unless you become very sick or in severe debt. Welp. Guess they're going straight to the nursing home if they live long enough. More context, my mom is an alcoholic who has been sober for 2.5 years. My parents have seen the same therapist since, which seems fishy. Mother went from aggressively pushing antidepressants and anxiolytics on the whole family for years to staunchly hating all drugs. And rant. Shit like this makes me so grateful for the family I'm building with my girlfriend, no plans on having kids though. My father just yelled at me and my mom because a man doesn't clean. My father literally just yelled at me and my mom moments ago because we had a property inspection and he claims the house was disgusting, although my mom and I stayed up late at night cleaning the house top to bottom. He claims he has 2 women in the house and that the house should be spotless because of that, stating that should be more than enough for a clean house to exist. He also went on to say that he's a man and that, if he ever has to clean, he doesn't see the point in having us. I hope this doesn't get removed, but it's times like this where I want my hand to become a pretty necklace. P.S. I would like to add that usually the house is disgusting because of him. He literally made the kitchen sink nasty after I cleaned all the dishes and the sink out last night, putting food and utensils in it like it was just whatever. I'm constantly having to clean up after him time and time again like a baby. Entitled Parents Won't Close the Bathroom Door When They Are Taking a Shit Piss. My title basically sums it up. Parents will regularly not close the door while using the bathroom. Most of the time their excuse is, "I didn't know it was open," but I know that's completely bullshit and know it's because they are being lazy. My dad's excuse is that his lung condition, he has pulmonary fibrosis, prevents him to close the bathroom door because he's out of breath. He uses his condition for legitimately everything we ask him to do, including leaving all his clothing in the bathroom when he bathes for me and my mom to pick up. He regularly puts on a show when he doesn't want to do something and will all of a sudden be completely out of breath, and then the second we leave the room he's fine. He has absolutely no perceptual awareness, so we can literally pretend to leave the room and he won't notice myself or my mom still standing there when his condition suddenly resolves itself in seconds. I know that sounds heartless, but my dad has emotionally abused me and my mom for my entire life. I have almost no sympathy for him as he regularly would pretend or exaggerate conditions throughout my life to get out of things. He's unmedicated bipolar and loves when he gets attention of his ailments. His pulmonary fibrosis is legit, but it's very obvious when he exaggerates it and my entire family notices it. My mom's excuse is that she just doesn't know it's open or forgets. My bathroom is very small, and when you sit on the toilet you'd have to be staring at the wall to your right the entire time to not see the door. She just does it because she's lazy, but my mom has a complex that whenever she's challenged on anything she takes it extremely personally and will do anything and will say any excuse to resist what was asked from her. When I've asked her to please close the door, she usually responds, "This is my house, so I'll do what I want," and call me an asshole or whatever adjective she's feeling. This answer doesn't mean much anymore because my name is officially on the deed to the house due to my dad's condition, so it's also very much my house. My fiancé regularly comes by my house, and that doesn't stop them from shitting out in the open. My house is small, and there's only one bathroom, so she's seen them several times. It's embarrassing, and I've asked them both to please have at least a little respect. My mom has completely blown up at me over the issue, and she has slammed her bedroom door in my face before over this issue. Her slamming the door at least proves she's capable of closing doors. My dad will default to using his condition as to why, and I'm just beating up on an old and sick man. I don't get it. I'm gonna be moving out soon as my fiancé is finishing up school, and we are looking for a house in the fall. But this has been going on for most of my life and it's embarrassing. I hope my story at least brought you some humor, because this has certainly made my life a joke. M demands free waffles. Later sends her kids. This happened a few years ago. There was this one sunny Sunday, and I was in a particularly good mood. I was walking around my new neighborhood. All the houses were built at the same time, and about 50 families moved in and got settled in the last few months back then. People were still getting to know each other. I noticed a bunch of scout girls going door to door with homemade waffles. As I walked past, they approached me and tried to get me to buy some waffles. Told them to follow me home as I didn't bring money on my walk. While walking, we spoke a little, and it turned out their sale had been underwhelming. I decided to buy all of their waffles. I was handed easily over 100 waffles. If I remember correctly, I spent about 60 to 70 euros. Happy faces ran off. I figured I'd open up my garage, pop up a small plastic table I keep in my garden shed, and plug in my waffle iron to heat up the waffles. Filled bowls with all kinds of sugar and placed a few syrups next to it. Next, I invited all the new neighbors over to my driveway for a free waffle by texting our Facebook group. Sure enough, a couple of families were keen and a small crowd gathered. It was all fun and games. People got to know each other better as I warmed the waffles and I had fun with topping them, made monstrosities with Nutella, ice cream, sprinkles, maple syrup, jam, all on one measly waffle lol. That kid still loves me, his mother not so much, haha, but this story isn't about her, and she's a sweetheart really. After some time, a frowning lady, who for some reason appeared to be in quite that hurry, made her way through my neighbors and approached me. I hadn't seen her before. She asked what all this was and why it was happening. Told her the entire story and that it was based on a whim. I don't know how to describe her that would do her character justice, but she was very in your face. Way too intense. "So they're free?" she asked. Well, yeah. I told her again I meant to bring neighbors together, but that I'd happily provide her with a gloriously topped waffle too. She went none of that and said she'd have a bag. She wanted no less than 20 waffles. Now, I'm usually not one for confrontation, and I was already deciding to comply, but then I realized that I owed her nothing, and backed up by the frowns of my neighbors I told the lady that definitely was not what I had in mind when I bought those waffles. I told her I was okay with preparing her one or two and with sticking around for a talk, but I wasn't just going to hand them out in large numbers to complete strangers. She then raised her volume and exaggeratedly offended she yelled at me what my deal was and why she was the only one denied waffles. Neighbors stepped in. I said that everything here had good intentions and even apologized for taking her chance to buy waffles from the scouts. I offered her to buy some off me if she wanted them that bad, as I still had plenty. But she was adamant on getting them for free. No way, everyone got theirs for free. I won't be the only one paying something like that. Multiple attempts were made to reason with her and to make her see the intention of our event, alas, to no avail. Neighbors isolated her, and after some irrelevant blabbering from her to a poor guy who hadn't even said a word, she stormed off. It kinda ruined my mood, but I decided to let it pass. Other families were still coming in, and the situation quickly became a bonding moment. Most were surprised hearing about it. Some already knew about her and were less surprised. About 45 min 1 hour later, two unknown very friendly kids showed up and ate a waffle. Most people had left by then, and I was just having drinks with some of the guys who stuck around. I had a few waffles left and the kids asked if they could bring some home. Well, yeah, why not? The event had ended. They were friendly kids who didn't ask for many. So I complied. Happy faces ran off with a few waffles towards a lady in the distance. Yup, it was M, and yup, those were her kids. She flipped me off in front of her kids, yelled something which I didn't understand, and they walked off in the distance. We had to process that for a while. Meanwhile, M is quite infamous around our neighborhood. She lives a few streets farther. She's employed as a caregiver in a retirement home, poor people, and she's an absolute terror. She dumps her trash in other people's bins so she doesn't have to pay for the new pay-per-kilo system. She blocks driveways. On several cases, reported as package thief. Calls cops for anything. Has been seen to abuse neighborhood cats. The list goes on. Her kids are super sweet though, which is remarkable. I luckily haven't seen much of her ever since the waffle incident, but I thought the story was fitting quite well here. You might say I'm a hypocrite for denying her a free bag and then later giving to the kids, but there are some key differences. They're kids. They're friendly. They asked, didn't demand. Event was nearing its end. They didn't ask for a ridiculous amount. That all, folks. If you like this content, please subscribe, hit the like button, and check out my next video. Take care.